everybody. Welcome back to the Dead Money with Dan Arfin podcast. I am Dan Arfin reporting to you. The World Series of Poker is underway. I got a very good feeling about the summer. These games have been really good so far, and I have a feeling it's not going to change. Although we know the first couple of weeks of the World Series of Poker tends to be the best since people have money and they have hope. In a couple of weeks, a lot of them will have neither. I've been talking about, I know I told you guys that I was going to talk about some wild hand histories from last week, and I will. We're going to get to it. I want to get to this weekend first while it's still fresh, because some of this shit is crazy, okay? So when I left the casino, I noticed there was a full moon, and I was like, yeah, this was definitely a full moon type of poker day. I know I've said it before, pay attention to when there's full moons. There's just always extra crazy things going on. So I show up in the morning. Game's probably 5 or 6 handed. One of the characters in this game is a recognizable face. It's this elderly woman. I believe she's from Arizona. She's got short hair, got these thick black glasses. She got this very sort of stern, resting bitch face. Is definitely trying her hardest. She's bringing everything she's got. She's a pleasant-natured woman. And, you know, I play with her on and off, and I think I've run her over in a few spots, probably nothing big. I chickened out of a very big spot against her once a few years ago, and that was certainly a big factor in what happened later in the day. First hand that comes up between me and her is, I think there was a raise and 2 calls. I called big blind with 9-7 of spades, and the flop comes Jack 10-5 with 1 spade, and I think everyone checked. And the turn was another 10. It was 2 hearts. I took a little while and checked, and everyone checked again, and the river is a 6. So we got 4 ways, and this is just a spot I get into quite a bit where it doesn't seem like anyone is really interested in trying to win the pot. So I just throw out some really big bet, and most of the time people just get confused and fold. So I bet 115 into 60. First guy folds, gets to our lady, let's call her Selma. Selma beats me to the pot, calls the 115. Other guy folds, I show it, and she's got pocket 9s. Okay. And, you know, at this point I'm repping just a 10 and a 10 only, and she wasn't going anywhere. And because she called so fast, it kind of made me thought that she was, like, ready for me to do that. She didn't even think about it. So I told myself, that's all right, you know, I'm keeping the pedal down against her. And if a spot comes up, I'm taking it. Simple. And about 20 minutes later, a spot did come up. There's an under-the-gun raise. She flats from the under-the-gun 1. Next action gets to me on the button. I got pocket 4s at 3-bet to 65. I know I can call with this hand, blah, blah, blah. We know all that. But, you know, I don't have that much respect for hardly anybody's post-flop play. And considering how rarely people 4-bet, I think they open way too wide. And are just going to play poorly against a 3-bet. So if I can end it here, great. I only have 4s. If not, all right, then I'll just play. I make it 65, the razor folds, but Selma calls again, and not a surprise. I mean, Selma plays, you know. I feel like she's just spewy and she's from Arizona. You play out there, those players, they're not that fucking good. So, when she double flats, I mean, I don't think her hand is going to be, like, awful. I mean, I think she could possibly have, like, a bigger pair. I see her do some curious things that you don't normally expect from people, so, you know. She tries to have some imagination. The flop comes 7 deuce. She check calls 65 again, I think. And at this point, I'm not convinced I'm beat. The turn is the 5 of hearts, 2 hearts. Pot's got about 300. She checks, I bet 250, and she calls rather fast again, so I'm very sure I'm beat. Now, most likely, river's a 10. She checks, the pot's got close to 800, and, you know, I had like a weird feeling about this, but I also know that this woman's going to have a pretty marginal hand quite often, and I'm like very sure of it this time. And, you know, I'm repping so thin. I'm just repping pure over pairs, and, you know, maybe just have a boat somehow, 3-bet with a hand that made a boat or ace deuce suited. I mean, I'm just going for it here. I jam about 1.5x pot. I jam over 1100. And she's thinking, and I don't know. You know, you can always kind of tell when you're going to get called. It's like the person just doesn't seem nervous. You could just see they're working towards like, yeah, I'm just going to go for it here and call. She's thinking, gets account, calls. Fuck me. Stacked. Like right in the first 25 minutes. Getting taken down by the elder statesman lady. I mean, who knows? Maybe she plays against a lot of men who think they can run her over because she's an old lady, and maybe she makes a lot of good calls for that reason. Who knows? But you know what she calls with? She's got 7-8 suited. I mean, this is exactly what I would expect her to turn over if she, winds up with the best hand here and decides to put the money in, okay? The guy who opened, he says to her, wow, what a call. I mean, this is not, okay, she won a lot of money. Good for her. Like, structurally, foundationally, this is terrible. And there are so many fucking people who do this and they have no idea what an egregious blunder they're making. You cannot flat 8-7 suited from under the gun 1. It is just a pure mistake every which way. Yeah, I know it's an attractive looking hand. We all love our suited connectors. There is a time and a place for these hands. It's not just 7-8 suited, it's 7-8 suited. No. The hand is valuable when you are in position and you are the one being aggressive. She is out of position and being passive. This is not a strategy. This is saying, all right, let's just see. I hope I make a big hand. I mean, she's going to end up in so many terrible fucking spots. She's going to make so many fucking mistakes. I mean, the more you play like this, calling and calling, and you're just checking and checking and guessing and checking and guessing, what are you doing? You're getting crushed is what's happening, whether you realize it or not. Anytime a guy just has you checking and guessing, he's beating you. The more you have to guess, the more you're going to guess wrong. And yeah, I felt of course I felt sick about it. This just stacked off, and I stacked off 20 minutes after getting there. Bam! But you know something? I'm fine with it. I mean, I would rather this happen than check down and give up and be shown that hand because I could be kicking myself the rest of my life thinking I should have jammed the river and thinking she would have folded. It's just funny because I gave up in a very similar spot against her 2 or 3 years ago. And, I was trying to level her with the bluff with nines. She caught me bluffing once. I go 2x in a small pot. Trying to make her think, all right, this time I'm going to have it. Like, this time he's going for it all in. He's trying to rep a bluff, but he's got it. And you know what? This play would have worked quite often. And look, we know this is why people are afraid to bluff because they don't want to have to come back from moments like this. Like, it's tough and it's painful, but look, you want to make money at this game, guys. Like you got to be aggressive, and you got to live with shit like this sometimes. And the ones who catch you are usually going to be these types, the recreational types, who are just kind of random. Your pros, your regs, your thinking players. I mean, they are much more predictable in spots like this. And I think she decided I'm a bluffer, and she's just going to make me show it's her, and there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it's a bit too stubborn. The question is, though, would she have folded if I bet less than all in? If I had bet 700, would she have thought I was value betting if I used a smaller size? I mean, I don't know. I think she probably calls anyway. But whether she calls or not, she set herself up to drown. I mean, and this is just not how you win. She decided she didn't believe me, and I didn't have it this time. And this is what happens. But, she handled it very professionally. She didn't say a word. She just took the money. I didn't say a word. Just pulled out more money. And, when you do something like this, it really shocks the table a little bit. They're thinking, oh, shit. Once you see a guy, get caught, So I'm stuck. Stuck about 1,700 right after getting there. And I'll tell you, the fear of being stuck is a lot worse than being stuck. Once you're stuck, it's just like whatever. But after taking a gut punch like this one, I mean, I am just... I battled hard all day. I mean, I was playing hard and playing hurt all day. It sucks bluffing it off. I mean, it sucks getting heroed. Do I feel like I got owned? No, not really. I mean, I feel like she got a situation that, it just has to be really, really, just no scare cards in her mind came out. I mean, I have a lot of value in this line going bet, bet, bet. Regardless of sizes, I have her beat a ton. I am going for 3 streets with pocket 8s. Pocket 9s. I am, if I'm going for 3 streets with a hand as weak as 8s, I'm not betting nearly as big on the river, and probably lesser on the turn as also, but just going bet, bet, bet. Now when I go bet that jam, now it's a lot more polar, but you still got the overpairs, still got 3 combos of 10s, you still got 1 combo of 7s with, she has a 7. Ace, deuce, deuces, 5s, I mean... I'm going to have these hands. I 3-bet, if I'm 3-betting 4s, then you know I'm going to be 3-betting a ton of stuff. But anyway, yeah, once you're stuck, once you're losing, it's not... The fear of being stuck is over because now you are stuck. Anyway. So you know players are going to be not willing to fold to you that easily anymore. They're not going to be comfortable. You are now like a catalyst for the game. Even if you play tight for a while, you're still... Everyone who's still there and saw this happen is going to be just very mindful of every time they get into a pot with you. So we got a new player sit down. He looks fishy. He raises to 15. I 3-bet to 55 with ace-10 suited. He calls. Flop comes king-jack-4. I have backdoor nut flush draw, and he check folds. Then there's a raise to 20. He 3-bets to 40, and I called 4-bet the same guy to 115 with pocket threes. And now he jams, and it's starting to feel like he's taking this a bit personally. Because that's how a lot of people feel if you 3-bet them, or, well, in this case, 3-bet and a cold 4-bet. They don't think it's possible that maybe you just had a playable hand. Now, look, ace-10 suited is definitely an easy 3-bet. Pocket threes, no, and he's right, I don't respect him, but there is an appropriate way to react to somebody who you think is going after you, and there's an inappropriate way to react to them. So then we fold. We get a hand. We fold to the button. Looks like a WSOP reg. He raises to 20. Our fish friend in the small blind calls. I call the big blind, and I got 6-4 suited, and hello, flop the joint. 5-3 deuce, rainbow. Check, check, button thinks for a while, and he checks. Turns to 9 of clubs, 2 clubs. Our fish in the small blind leads pot, 60. I really should go even bigger, but I raise to 200. Button thinks a little bit and folds. Small blind instantly rejams. Call. He's got pocket 10s, people, drawing nice and dead. And then it was funny to hear the button reg say afterwards that he checked back jacks on the flop. So he doesn't get 3-bet by 10s. I outflop him. And look at this pure internet checkback on the button. A pure internet checkback. I'm probably supposed to dunk this flop, but, you know, we're so used to checking to the pre-flop raiser in live. I mean, I know solvers, I think, like to dunk these types of boards. But I didn't say this, but I wanted to say to him, like, buddy, you're at 2-5 in Vegas. You can just bet your overpairs on the flop and not worry about this other perfect shit you're trying to imitate. Save the money, though. Then I get a hand, a queen 10 offsuit, and a hijack raise to 20. There's 2 calls, and the flop comes king 9-6, 2 hearts, and I have the queen of hearts. It checks. I'm the second man to act. I bet 35. The button calls, and he's another very fishy-looking player. The other player folds. So we got 130. I turn the straight with the jack of hearts. One outer in terms of creating that situation. I have a flush draw as well. Not straight. And the guy immediately looks at his cards, like doesn't try to, like, you know, hide the fact he's doing a hard check. I bet 115 into 130, and he took a while to call. And he also thought the bet was 90. He took a while to call just what he thought was 90, and then once he realizes it's more, he calls that. So that's something you should think about. The river's another king, and the pot's got 360 now, as I remember, and I jammed 3x pot. I jammed over 1,000, going for a home run here, thinking if he's never going to fold a king to me. But he tanks and he folds, and I don't think he folded a king. I mean, I think that I should have considered the fact that he took so long to hold a turn. Like, it's not a good turn card, but against me, he's not, for what he thinks is only $90 as well, he's not folding top pair on the turn. He's not even going to think about it. He's going to call. Just going to call. So he probably just had like a 9. So I should realize that his hand is not as strong as I hope it can be, and I should just bet smaller to get maybe called by that hand. So we understand why I went for this here, but it's a good live read, a good adjustment, a good exploit to know that I should size down here because he doesn't have a king. Then I move seats. We get a early position raise to 15. I have pocket 4s again, and I 3-bet again, make it 50. And the button cold 4-bets to 150. He's a new face. Folds back to me. We're deep. I mean, I'd rather call cold 4-bets out of position as the 3-better with small pocket pairs than calling a 3-bet out of position with a pocket pair because the SPR is much lower and a much greater chance that he has a big hand that you can stack. So I call. Flop is 10-6-5. I think I check. He only bets 80, and I don't think he would bet a quarter of the pot with a real hand. He probably heard that betting a quarter of the pot in a 4-bet pot is smart, so he bet a quarter of the pot with probably isn't that good of a hand at this point. I should have fucking check raised him. I called, just playing it, you know, safe. I think probably just a little rattled still from the bluff. You know, you get a little gun shy to do something ambitious again. So the turn is another 10. 2 clubs, check. The river's a fucking king. I check, he bets 325, and it felt very strong. I fold. So if I check raise flop, I think I can win this hand. I mean, I think if you're going to call out of position 3 bets or 4 bets with little pairs, you also have to consider how likely it is the guy will bluff off. Like, if he's not the type to bluff off, then you don't necessarily have to hit a set. So you can play well against him that way. Then I get 7-6 of hearts in middle-ish position. I raise to 20. There's a call, and there's a 3 bet to 60 from the button. And just a stupid size from a fishy-looking player. And if I'm going to 4-bet bluff like I did here, I need to just go really, really big. If you think they have some silly hand, then you just got to make it so obnoxiously big that they're just not even going to think about calling. And I still went fairly big. I mean, I went to 260, and he wasn't 300 big blinds deep, but I still think that the move is to just go bigger. Like 350, 400 even. Just totally take his ace-queen offsuit and shove it up his ass. But it's 260. He thinks, and he calls. And then I flop total error, ace-jack deuce. And I feel like this flop just smashed him. I feel like he's just going to have so much ace-x. I can just check. But no, what if I'm wrong? What if he has 9s? What if he has 8s? What if he has king-queen? What if he has king-10? I mean, there are just hands that don't love the flop. So I bet 160, and he raises. He raises me on this flop in a 4-bet pot. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, what has he got? Ace-jack? I feel like that's likelier than jacks unless the guy just has no clue how to size, which happens a lot. See, I get nervous about 4-bet bluffing the fish because they use a pussy size, and you think it's a pussy size, it's a pussy hand. But no, they may just be they don't know how to size. They don't know that this size is just strategically flawed for so many reasons. And instead, it works out for them because someone reads it as weak, but they happen to be strong. They still may be 3-betting a very tight range, but their size gives no indication about that. But it seems like in this case, this guy just had a medium-ish hand. And, pocket jacks don't ever get too excited about being 4-bet unless it's a really special player. So then I move tables, and I get ace-5 offsuit on the button. And bear in mind, I was down 1,700, then I cut it to about 650. Now it's probably over 1,000 again, at least. Really good game. So yeah, a couple early middle position limps from bad players. I mean, just a great game. I got ace-5 off on the button, and I get 35, which, okay, this is a little, it's ambitious. Limp. One of them could have a bigger ace. Yeah, there's a good chance to get them both beat, but I got ace-5 off. Hand's not flopping very well. Still got the blinds to get through. I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't that interesting in terms of making money for this fucking hand, but I did it anyway. And then the big blind calls. And then the limpers call, both of them. So we got 140 out there. Comes ace-9-4, 2 hearts. They check over to me. It's a good spot to check, but, I think an ace here will be good fairly often. And I probably should bet bigger, actually, against the flush draws, but I only bet 55. And the small blind calls. And then one of the limpers, the first limper, check raises to 150. Makes this dumbass size check raise. And he's got about 500 left, give or take. And I just thought this is some bullshit-ass flush draw all day, and the other guy who called in the big blind, he could have a flush draw too, but he probably has an ace. And if I rip, I'm repping sets, top 2, ace-king, so, I just pray that I'm right, because if I'm wrong, I'm in terrible shape. But I don't think I'm going to be wrong. So I jam, and now the big blind, who had more than the guy who check-raised flop, he's thinking, now he's pushing all his fucking chips in the middle. He's calling off $800-900. And the other guy immediately folds, so I'm feeling good about that. The turn is the 4 of hearts, so the flush comes in, board pairs though. And the guy is already turning his hand over, so I actually felt some relief in this moment. I think, oh, well, at least I got it in good, even though it looks like I'm about to lose a big all-in to a flush. Except I felt even more relieved when I saw the river because it was an ace. Hallelujah, full house. Hit the fucking redraw. He's got queen, jack of hearts. Calls all in on the fucking turn. I mean, price-wise, he may have been getting about 1.5 to 1. I mean, I don't know. It definitely wasn't that good. And he's only got this hand. Doesn't even have the friggin' nut flush draw. Either one of us could possibly have a nut flush draw. He's got a backdoor straight draw. Just calling all in with queen, jack of hearts. The other guy folded ace-queen. So I was right to think that he didn't check-raise flop with a huge hand, but he didn't do it with a flush draw. He does it with top pair second kicker, Why? Trying to see where he's at? I don't know. I mean, why is this hand good enough to check raise on the flop in this situation, but not good enough to just open raise from your position? Why are you open limping? So holy shit, did this work out for me or what? I mean, I get the better hand to fold, get all the money in against the worst hand, and hold in a dramatic fashion with him hitting, and then I re-hit. So that is running good. I mean, and that is one of the dumbest hands I've ever won. I mean, one of the biggest pots is certainly a 2-5 that I've ever won with a complete fucking... Getting what I deserve, though. I mean, people playing stupid and getting punished for it. If you're going to play ace-queen in that matter, you don't deserve to just be all in there with the best of it. I mean, you put yourself in this stupid spot, you played the hand like a total idiot, and now you have to suffer about the fact that you didn't triple up. Good, you deserve it. Now, as for the guy with queen-jack of hearts, look, even his call pre-flop is a bit suspect. 7 big blinds. I mean, I think he has a good hand to 3-bet. I mean, you know, look, it's not something you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get all the money in with queen-jack suited. I mean, this is a good, flexible hand. Let's just say I made it 25, so that way, you know, makes the point easier to make here. Like, if he calls the 25, that's fine. But the fact that he's going to call the 25 probably every fucking time, which is what so much of the pool does, call it for the 1,000th straight time, that is a huge mistake. In a vacuum, one time, this particular spot, no, it's not a mistake. But it becomes a mistake when you do it a billion fucking times in a row. And that's what's going on a lot in poker today. You see a lot of people doing things like, oh, this is fine, this is fine. No, it's not fine 100% of the time. You have to mix. This is a hand where you can mix 3-bets with. This is a nice hand to 3-bet. Put some pressure on the people. Make them play a little bit. The way you neutralize being out of position, the disadvantage of it, is by being aggressive. Not reckless, but aggressive. Then we got a nit calling other player nits. That's always one of the most fun things. And, you know, he was a pleasant-natured man too, but it's like I get annoyed when nits are calling other people nits. And then he started, like, criticizing the game for not being that social, and saying no one's talking, and then that's when he was being kind of condescending about it, and that's when I said, you never stop talking, but you never say anything interesting. And then he's like, nah, you don't talk to me, you can't talk to me. I mean, it's just another person who can say whatever he wants to the table, and you can't respond to him except for the way he's okay with. Hate playing with people like this. Then comes this hand. Pretty upset about this. I mean, chickened out. I raised with ace-king 20, 3-bet to 100 from the blind. It was this European player who's deep, who just seemed like he was, you know, like a fairly competent player, but just okay. And I called 100, we're very deep. And the flop comes 8-7-3 rainbow, and he bets 80 into 200. And look, this is a hand I can win. You believe I folded here? This is pathetic. I mean, you gotta call the fucking 80. First of all, I could have the best hand, could turn the best hand. And if nothing changes, I can rep so many different hands on the turn or river. I mean, if a 6 comes, I can rep 9-10. If a 9 comes, I can rep Jack-10 or 5-6. If it bricks out, you know, 4-deuce, 4-6. I mean, it's just 10. There's a bunch of runouts where I can just rep sets or there's nut straight on the river by just jamming. If he just tries to go bet, jam, and we're super deep, I mean, this would be a great play. And I guess with what happened earlier, you know, look, when you lose a big bluff, it definitely makes you a little shy to fire another one, even if it's a totally different player and a totally different situation. The guy doesn't know anything about it. I mean, just getting called earlier when I had the pocket fours, I mean, this is what we see in the World Series of Poker. I mean, now I've played with this woman before, and we have like a little history together, and she'll be around longer. I'll definitely be trying to gun for her. I mean, whenever we see each other, we're always going to both remember that, and I'll say hi to her, I suppose. She's a nice woman. But anyway, that was an example of the kind of random shit that goes on all the time during the series. And I just started getting nervous that it could happen again. Like, what if this guy just has pocket queens and just, like, beats me in his 6K pot? I mean, I just start fearing things like that. So I folded, which is terrible. Folding is out of the question. I mean, if you don't want to jam 3,000 on the river, fine. But folding 80 on the flop, are you fucking serious? I mean, it's a nitty moment. So then we get into a spot where I wasn't even paying attention to what was going on with other players. This fish goes all in for under $200 against this European player, and he's thinking for a while. And we know where this is going. I know he's going to continue to think for an exorbitant amount of time, and we know he's going to fold. That's what happens every time. The Europeans, they tank for 5 fucking minutes over every fucking tiny decision and fold every time. It's fine that they fold, but when they fold every time, then it kind of gets annoying, because it's like, you guys are just always going to do the same thing. What the hell takes you so long to get there? And why, especially why in this tiny ass fucking pot? Now, I did my own 30-second countdown, and then I called clock, and then this is where things came off the rails. This floorman comes over, a man I've never seen before. He comes over, the dealer says time has been called, and the first thing the floorman says, has it been 5 minutes? What? We all looked at him, I was like, I don't know if it's been 5 minutes. It was like, it's been a long time. And then the floorman's carrying on like he's basically not going to call time. I was like, nobody like sets a stopwatch the moment someone has a decision they start making and sees when we get to 5 minutes. I mean, what kind of a question is that? I mean, then he said it's a cash game, and he walked away. He didn't even call time at all. I mean, that is completely abominable. That is unacceptable. So finally he folds. Duh. Gee, who saw that coming? And then he starts talking with the other European player in English. The guy I folded ace king to. The guy I folded to, I think he said like that was under 2 minutes. And I don't think it was under 2 minutes. And look, whatever it was, it could have been a fast time call. Maybe. All right? I'm not necessarily saying it was. I do know that this pot was not that big, and he went all in for like half pot for $200, and he's sitting there all fucking day. And let me take you back to last summer, where on consecutive days, I get completely fucking nit-rolled by European players. Once at the RAF, where I, for like 2.5x, jammed an overpair on the turn, and the guy takes forever and a day to call with a set, because there was a possible straight. Second set, this guy has pocket nines. I went all in. Ooh! I swear, that was his reaction. He jumped out of his seat and walked around for a minute with second set. Jack 975. Second set. If someone goes all in for 2.5x pot, he's got to call like 1,400. You think he's folding that? And then the next day, the board was king, queen, deuce, king, deuce. And my opponent has king 10. King, queen, deuce, king, deuce. He checks in position on the flop. I lead 2x on the turn, lead 2x on the river. I bet 475 and a 200. He's got a king in this spot. And he took forever. And someone finally called clock. And then he ran the clock down to 0. And then he called with that hand. It took these guys forever to call with the nuts, basically. That's why they fold every other hand. And I just have all this pent-up aggravation. This is just not even from last year. I mean, there's so many examples. Anyone who's played during the World Series of Poker knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm addressing all you guys from Europe. Hurry the fuck up! How long did it take you to fly over here? You're going to spend as much time tanking as it took the plane to get here? Jesus! You guys don't have a lot of time here, you know. You guys are supposed to be these great players. What the hell is taking you so long if you're such a great fucking player? The speed of your decision says a lot about your level. So I told the guy, I mean, it was only $200. I said it was $1,000. Like, okay, that'd be different. Then we're going to wait a while. Then he's like, there's $700 in the pot, meaning including the bet, which I don't think it was $700. I looked over at the guy who won the pot. He did not have $700 in front of him, okay? It could have been, at most, like $550. And that's a lot less than $700, all right? But now he's fucking arguing with me, acting like this is, like, proper. That it's appropriate for him to take this fucking long. And I said, okay, fine. Just take 5 fucking minutes every hand. I cursed at him. And he, gave me a dirty look. And, I stand by the principle that I was arguing for, that it's utterly ridiculous how long these European players take to fold against small bets over and over and over throughout the summer. I stand by that principle. Was I out of line in cursing to him? Yes. I'm not allowed to do that. And I saw him the next day, and this was Saturday. I saw him again on Sunday. I didn't say anything to him. If I see him again, and I probably will, I will go up to him and say, okay, I'm sorry. Now, look, an apology does not make up for this, but it's the most I can do at this point. It's true. I can be a prick sometimes. I don't fucking care, though. There comes a point where, You just got to say something. And I had no problem with what I did, but you can't do the F-bomb. But you know something? I see people break rules all the time, and all they ever do is get his warning. They just get nothing but warnings. So I didn't deserve anything but a warning either. Even if a floor man heard me, even if Mr. 5 minutes, has it been 5 minutes yet? Even if he saw it, he'd give me a warning. Sure. Big deal. All they do is give warnings. These rules aren't even rules. All they do is give warnings. That's not a rule. It's not a rule until you enforce it. Warning is just does not accomplish anything if that's all you do. Has it been 5 minutes? What kind of a stupid fucking question is that? I reported him to the ship supervisor about 4 or 5 hours later. I told him the whole story. And he said he agreed with me, and he said that I think you could have handled it better too. He said because what I said to him, I was like, I don't know how long it's been. It's been around a really long time. I don't remember what I said. I know I wasn't trying to keep it soft though. Then I got pissed off at another player. He was sitting like 2 seats to my right, I think, and he only had about 400, and I could barely see his big chips. Like, they're at the bottom. I know he's not doing it on purpose, but I couldn't see. And I asked the dealer to show. The dealer tells him to put him up front. And we get into the hand. He bets the flop, and I still, like, kind of can't really see. And I'm, like, peering around, and I'm just, like, getting annoyed again. And then he, like, takes him out, pushes him in the front. This is this white guy. He's like, there, are you happy? So we're just two bitchy, petty white guys arguing. I said, yes, thank you. Now I can see. I fold. I was like... Then I took my purple chip and I put it in the bottom of my back stack. I'm like, all right, guys, I got a purple chip back here. And then the dealer stood up for the other guy. He's like, he wasn't doing that. And I didn't argue with the dealer. And I just said, okay. I said, I just don't have to beg to see his big chips. Then I get into another spot where this one, oh my God. The guy limps in. I think I make it 30 with King Jack suited or 25. Yeah, I think I miscounted the pot here. Anyway, yeah, I made it 25 or 30. We go 3 ways. And it comes Jack 8-4 rainbow, and I check. It checks to me. I check. In position player checks. I just threw in a check, even though I usually bet. Turn is at 10. Goes check. I bet 55. I thought I was betting close to the pot, but I was not quite betting that close to the pot size. Anyway, first player folds. The guy who limp called pre-flop, he calls, and the river is a 3 total brick, and there was no flush draw at any point. So we got Jack 8-4 10 3. He checks. I bet 150. He's not deep at all. He's probably got like, I don't know, 400, 500 at most. He's thinking and he's thinking and he's thinking. He makes the face, touches the face, goes all in, does the whole speech. I mean, this is just never, ever, 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 ever a bluff. I fold and he shows me a bluff. Shows me King 9 offsuit. I mean, I could see this being, either a set or the nut straight because there's no flush draw on the turn. So I could see someone check calling Queen 9 or 7-9 there, limp calling, pre, checks around on the flop, turns it straight, just check calls and check shoves. I mean, it just made perfect fucking sense to me. And when people want to bluff the river, they usually just lead it themselves. I mean, because what if I don't bet the river? I mean, that's why people don't go for check raise bluffs that often, I don't think. They're worried they're not going to even get the chance. So I get bluffed off of this pot. I mean, where the fuck did this come from? Lost another hand with pocket 7s. I raised to 30. There's 3 calls, I think. Flop was Queen 6-5, I think. I had 7s, Queen 6-4. Check. In position, probably about 75 into 120. This was a shadow pot. It falls back to me. I felt like I was beat, but I don't know. I call. It's one fucking bet. I think calling 7s once. Like, how bad can it be? Turn is a queen. Check. River's another queen. Wow. Maybe he just has a 6. I feel like he's just not going to bluff, so I bet like 250, I think, or no, 175. He's thinking. He's like, I should raise you, but he calls. And he has pocket kings, and he just rolled them over so proudly, like ha. So he just doesn't 3-bet pre, checks back this turn card, which I think was sensible, but I think he did it because he was scared not to blow me away, risk blowing me away. Then he gets this river, and it's like, even if I flopped a set, that hand is no longer good. I mean, how does he not raise the river? And I was thinking, what if he does something crazy and jams the river? I was like, am I going to call that? I was thinking, I feel like I would want to, but I know I probably shouldn't. And had he jammed, yeah, calling a big mistake. So that ace-5 offsuit hand from earlier, that got me close to unstuck for the second time, where I think I did get unstuck. And now with all this other shit happening, now I'm stuck for a third time. And then I get aces. And we got a raise to 15. There's a call. I 3-bet to 65 on the button. And our friend in the big blind, Reg, he called 4-bets to 200. Folds back to me. And I think we're just too deep to 5-bet. It just looks too strong. I call. The flop comes 5-5-3. and he bets 150 into 430, and neither of my aces block ace-5 suited, so both ace-5 suited combos are in play. The call turn is a deuce, so the wheel draw is in play now. He bets 375, and I felt like he had a hand. And I thought about jamming because now he's only got about 700-800 left, and I see this guy hold on with overpairs. But he could be bluffing. I mean, and if he has a pair like jacks or queens, maybe he thinks I could be putting it in light because now I think he is just bluffing with ace king, and now I have too many outs to fade. So that could give him incentive to calling. So I was really unsure about what to do. I was really not sure what to do. I ended up calling. I just thought calling is fine. I'm just stack him on a lot of rivers anyway, because it's pretty hard to have a flush draw. River's a queen, and he checks. And I jam about half pot, 700-800, and he tank folds. And he said later he had jacks, and he said he thought the whole time I had queens, but then he thought I was like jamming tens on the river as a bluff. I mean, I don't know why he thought that, but I think his play is a little too aggressive. I mean, assuming he's telling the truth. I think when you have jacks, you can just fold pre, even though he knows I 3-bet a lot. I mean, it's still not bad to just fold pre. You're going to be in a lot of bad spots. Call 4-betting is fine, though. It's probably better to call 4-bet. But he has got to check at some point before the river. I mean, he could just check the flop even. I mean, once I call him, I mean, he's got to know I have something pretty decent. And it's like, if he has me beat, betting won't accomplish a ton besides denying equity. He's not going to get it. Can't expect to get a better hand to fold. You know, it's not like he's bluffing anyway. So I think it's just a bit of an overplay flop and turn. Now he's in this spot on the river and he's not sure what the hell's going on. All he knows is it's hard for me to be bluffing, which I wasn't. I play another pot with him where I raised with ace king off to 20, a new player 3-bets to 65. Our reg friend cold calls 65, and I 4-bet to 250. And this is another spot where if I'm going for a fold, I mean, I should have gotten bigger than 250 anyway, but I got to go more like 350. I mean, if you're trying to end the hand, you just got to go fucking huge. That's what it seems like. But as played, I made it 250. They both call. So we got 750 out there. And then the flop comes ace, queen, jack, 2 diamonds. I don't have a diamond. I mean, this is a spot where you got 2 options and they both stink. I don't want to bet. I don't want to check. Even though check folding actually doesn't sound that crazy. I mean, who knows if the middle position player could ever have ace, queen suited, or maybe even ace, jack suited, queens or jacks. If anyone is spewing super hard, they have a joint. We're not going to worry about that. But what does betting accomplish? I mean, what is ace king getting called by anything worse? How in the world is ace king getting called by a worse hand? And it's not like we know. I mean, look, the way the day is going, we know the river's going to. We know the turn is going to be a king or a 10 or a diamond, and probably all 3. But I don't know. I just bet 225 anyway, and they both fold. And it's like, okay, fine. I don't have to be put in a horrible spot. It's kind of over-repping my hand, but at least it prevents you from getting bluffed, that's for sure. So then I get aces one more time. We got a raise to 15 and a call from a new player. And oh yeah, our same reg friend who we had aces against before. A 3-bet to 90 this time from the small blind. They both call, so I'm out of position with aces 3 ways. Comes queen 8-6, rainbow. And I'm towards the end of a 10-hour session. I think betting here is good. You know, any size I bet, all the gut shots are calling jack 10, 10, 9. Queen X is calling. And there's just very little bluffing. Still, I checked. I mean, the check can cause things to work out very well for me later in the hand, but betting is probably better. So they all check, and the turn is a 9, which is really not a good card. I mean, it's not a bad card for me to check again, but I bet 175 and they both call. And the river's a 5, so there's a 4-liner straight. Queen 6, 8, 9, 5. Flush draw on the turn, which bricked on the river. I check. They all checked. And the in-position player says, I got 10s. So I don't know what middle position player had, but aces held and ended up winning on the day. I mean, I got stuck 3 fucking times. I mean, just a ton of swings. Probably close to 6, 7K worth of swings. Which brings us to Sunday. Session was a lot shorter. It was only 5 hours. But there were a couple interesting spots. The button raised to 20, and I 3-bet the small blind to 100 with ace queen of diamonds, and he calls, and he's got about 700-ish, 700-800. And I've been fairly quiet. He seems like someone you can run over. The flop comes jack 3-3 rainbow. I just totally brick. Bet 70, he calls. Turn is another 3, so pick up some equity if you can catch another 3. He's got about a little more than 2x pot. Pot has 340, and I jam. And I made some joke earlier with him about how like he's getting what he deserves or something like that. And then he asked me while he's tanking, he's like, am I about to get what I deserve here? He mucked. I don't show. And then a minute later I moved seats, and then a little while later after that he left. After he racked up, before he left, he came over to me, he just whispered, he's like, can you tell me what you had in that hand? He's like, or do you not want to say? And I said, it's a secret. It's my default response. And he was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I actually think he was like a little disappointed that I didn't tell him. But then I was telling the reg on my right, I was telling him, I was like, hey, I know we could be friendly and stuff, but like I'm not telling you what I had when I jammed 2x the pot. And then the guy sitting across from me, I'm in seat 6, I think, or 5 in the 8-handed game. He's in seat 8. He cuts in, he's like, oh, I was like, who cares? Like, it's just 2-5. So that was his first, like, oh, this is just 2-5 commoners, acting like this isn't a big deal. And we would be hearing a lot more from this guy. Because a little while later, we get into a spot where one guy raises under the gun, the big blind makes a big 3-bet, and the under the gun raiser shows his hand to the raiser and folds. And I didn't make him show, even though it's show and show all. Someone has to ask. But then the guy who made him fold, the big blind, he said to him, like, you have to show everybody, but he didn't. But then I asked him, I said, what did he show? And he told me ace queen off. And then the other guy in seat A, we'll call him Don. Don says to me, he's like, oh, come on. He's like, you wouldn't tell that guy what you had before, but you're asking what he had. I was like, that is a totally different fucking situation. This is what drives me crazy about people, is that they say this with a straight fucking face. Like they're dead ass about this. He thinks he's right. He's so fucking wrong. I played a pot with a guy where I 2x the turn, he folds, I throw my cards in, and then he asked me what I had, and I chose not to tell him. And this guy is trying to tell us that when someone folds his hand to somebody else, doesn't show anybody else, that I have no right to be asking, hey, what did he show? That is a rule. It is not a rule to tell somebody what hand you had when they asked you. And then he said he was kidding. I was like, all right, fine. I was like, if you're kidding, it's fine. There are some people who would say that and be serious. He's like, well, I am kind of serious. I'm just like, what? Then he says again, it's 2-5. It's 2-5. Like, oh, I was like, what? He's like, he's saying that this isn't important, is basically what he was saying. I was like, it's important to me. I was like, I live big blind to big blind. He won a hand earlier. Like, he 4-bet all in with ace queen. It was a total punt, but he made the best hand. He said, I just was in a bad mood. He's like, I said, well, I guess he's in a better mood now. Then he's talking about how, because he was running good in the 2-5 game. He's like, why couldn't I have this luck last night at 10-20? He's like, stakes dropping how big he played the day before. It's like, he's a guy who's a clear fucking fish. It's like, yeah, the game was probably running because of you. So who knows what he lost in that game? Probably a good between 5 and 10, right? So he's not impressed with, the $1,000 he's won quickly at 2-5 or whatever it was. But this guy just flaunting his dick, just putting the 2-5 players down, acting like we shouldn't take this seriously. I mean, there are people who play this game for a living. A lot of them. Duh. It's a 1,500 max. People get fucking beat up in this game sometimes. I mean, it's just getting all high and mighty. Would eventually get into a pot with him, but first, I got one of the best compliments I've ever been given. I raised a 20 with ace jack. He had 2 calls, including the button. It comes like king 7, I think. So I got air. Big blind checks, I bet a quarter. Button calls. Other guy folds. Turn is a 4. King 7-4. I bet 140 into 90. And I have made a lot of big hands against this guy. I've had a lot of situations where I'm just always able to put him in a tough spot. Just seems to happen all the time when I play with him. And as soon as I bet 140, he's thinking, then he starts laughing. He's like, which we already know this is going to lead to a fold. And I think he showed a 7. Then he's like, Big Bet Dan. He called me Big Bet Dan. Wow. What an honor. Let me tell you something about overbet bluffing people. I mean, we know that it's scary. I understand why it's scary. Duh. It's 120 out there and you're risking 600. You're risking all this fucking money that if it fails, you're down all this money. But if you win, you only get that. Yeah, okay. We understand why that doesn't sound very appealing. But you know something? It's very effective.
People are not that eager to call the six. They're not any more eager to call the 600 than you are to bet it. Just give it a try sometime. Just try it once in your life. Whether it fails or not, you never have to do it again. Just try. What spot to do it in? I don't know. You guys all think you're fucking experts. You pick out the spot. Just go 2 or 3x sometimes. Or sometime, once. Just go for it once. Try to make their life really hard. Really confuse them. This is no limit hold'em. This is the essence of the game. Are these huge sizes you can pick. This is how you confuse people. This is how you get them to do what you want, now or later. The overbet is the essence of no limit hold'em. That's why it's no limit. People sit down with $1,500. All they want to do is put it in with the nuts. They don't look to leverage that stack. They don't look to maneuver what it's capable of doing. Like, you should never sit down with more money than you're willing to bluff off. Whatever the most you're willing to bluff off is what you should sit down with. And if you're not willing to bluff that off, then why are you sitting that deep? So then we got a raise and I think 2 calls. So I got pocket kings in the small blind and I 3-bet to 125. Trying to get the open raiser to making crazy overjam pre because he can spaz. But then it gets to our big blind friend who all high and mighty about 10-20 and doesn't think anyone should care about anything at 2-5 because he's too rich for this. He's only playing here because he had a bad night, the higher stakes the day before. Calls the 125. Wow. We go heads up. There's 290 in the pot, and the flop stunk. It was King 7-5 rainbow, so I only have top set. And it's hard to know what to do in these spots. I mean, you can't just. I think checking. I mean, Sank Desai was just here a couple episodes ago, and he brought up this exact spot. Not with getting a cold caller behind you in a 3-bet pot, but a 3-bet pot where you're out of position and it comes king high dry. And he said you have to bet online. If you don't bet that flop online, he says you're sending a crazy message to the other guy about what you think of him or how little you know. And I said even if you have top set, he's like yeah. So I bet 75, and then the guy thinks for a while and he says to the dealer he wants me to call, and it's just like. I don't know how big of a size I'm using if I have like ace queen here, or anything that didn't connect with this flop. I mean, I might not use a huge size, but this guy is just so cocky, and he's a fish too. Turn is the queen, 2 hearts, and so the pot's up to 440. I bet 175, and that he called a lot faster. And I'm wondering if maybe he hit a heart. I mean, what does he have? Like ace 10 of hearts, ace something of hearts. He just floated with a backdoor and a flush draw. Is he just trying to fucking drill some shit on me? There was a jack, so ace 10 is a straight. I mean, I don't think I should be too worried about it. I mean, I was gonna go small for a while. I was gonna go like 400, 375. Then I changed my mind and overbet, bet like 975. And he snap folded. So I think he was just snap folding anything. I thought about checking, but I don't know. This guy may have been a good guy to check against, but because if his hand is good enough to call, then it could be good enough to bet. I mean, the only hand good enough to call that's not good enough to bet could be ace king. And if I tank it here, he's probably just going to fold ace queen. I mean, it's just hard to put him on a hand here. I mean, he cold calls this massive size 3-bet. What does he have? Ace 7 of hearts? He just floats with nothing on the flop because it's a small flop bet? I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. The more I think about it, I actually think I should probably just be checking this river and calling whatever size. But then he gets up and then he asks, he's like, I'm just curious, like, do you use a big size when you bluff or like he was basically asking me to put in a box. Do I bet big for value or what sizes do you use value versus bluff? And I'm like, there's no blanket response to that. I mean, like, yeah, I tend to go a little bigger when I'm bluffing and a little smaller when I have it because how the pool tends to respond to that. But it's like, there's no blanket response to that. I mean, This guy, I mean, these fish who play higher, however often they do, and they go back to the middling stakes and act like they're all high and mighty. I mean, the guy has no clue that even in these limits, he's just dead, drawing so dead. So that hand put me up at least one last hand. I get ace king in the big blind, a new player sits down. Raise to 20, there's 2 calls. I make it 165 out of the big blind. I think I said I had ace king. The under the gun raiser calls, and then the in position player, this young Asian girl in the cutoff calls. She's deep, he isn't. He's got less than 100 big blinds remaining. So I kind of just expected him to fold or jam, but he calls, and the flop comes ace 8 deuce 2 spades, and that girl looked kind of interested in the flop. So I thought about checking, but I wanted to just bet fold to her rather than just check call down 3 streets and she has a set. So I bet 160, which we know is fine. And then the original raiser under the gun, he jams about 450-ish total. The girl tanks a little bit and folds, so it seems like she had an ace. I, of course, call, turns an ace, which, all right, trip aces now. River's a jack, he turns over pocket eights, cold deck, flops set against ace king, would have a pair. Okay. And, he turns his hand over like, yeah, I gotcha. And it's like, dude, you lost so much money with that pre-flop call. It's like, he needs this flop to double up. Even 7 high, I might just check fold. And he put in 165 with only 444 behind. It was 444, that's what he had. So he is just not getting anywhere close to the right price. People love their jerking themselves off at their 7.5 to 1 price. I'm trying to hit sets, but that's just 7.5 to 1 is just a flop of the set. That doesn't mean you're going to win, number one. And the flop could be 7-6-5 all spades, and the guy has ace king hearts. So it doesn't mean you're going to win a big pot. It's not just 7.5 to 1. It's more like 15 to 1. Because there's all these things that have to go right to flop a set and crush somebody with it. But he's going to continue with that hand. He's just got to jam. He didn't want to do that. He just wants to set mine with no money left and pray for the set against top pair, top kicker. All right. So you only need lightning to strike. All right. Let's put another 29 big blinds in with this hand. Because if I hit a set, I'm going to double up. Okay. So that's a cold deck. Pretty much broke even on this session. But yeah, I will talk to you guys again this week. Talk to you more about what happened the last couple weeks where I had a big week. But yeah, that'll do for this weekend's episode. And hope you're enjoying the World Series so far, guys. We'll talk to you soon. See you next time.